When two of the proudest programs square off, it's always of interest to the college football world. Now, despite their tradition of playing almost every year since 1926, this is not a traditional rivalry like you'll see across the sport this weekend. It's not geographic based, as nearly 2,000 miles separate the schools. But let me tell you, distance does not make the heart grow fonder. The hatred is alive and well, and both teams are playing some of their best football right now. So we brought in our best reporters to help get you ready for this matchup. Tom Loy of Irish Illustrated and Ryan Abraham from USCFootball.com. You guys might not agree, I do, but USC, their only loss is by a single point to Utah in October. For Notre Dame, after starting 0-2, they've proceeded to win 8 of their last 9. So as these squads enter this rivalry game, where's the mindset? Ryan, let's start with you.
Yeah, for USC, I mean, it was all about trying to build this team, build this roster for Lincoln Riley, and try to win a championship. I don't know if anyone believed him when he was talking about that, and then completing last weekend, beating UCLA, clinching a spot in the Pac-12 championship game. That's accomplished that they can get there and win a title in Vegas for the conference. But you still have this huge rivalry game left, which has college football playoff implications. So USC's kind of in a weird spot here because there was so much emotion after beating UCLA and knowing that you punched your ticket to that title game, but you have higher aspirations too, a potential spot in the college football playoff. USC's never made the college football playoff before. So getting a win over Notre Dame, maybe a Caleb Williams, Heisman moment, something like that, that would be really big for USC.
Yeah, and for Notre Dame, I mean, this one's just about continuing the upward trajectory after that rough start, like you mentioned, Emily. I mean, the Ohio State loss is one thing, the Marshall is another. Then they seem to have things rolling a little bit, and then obviously Stanford happened. But since then, it's been business as usual, as you would expect for Notre Dame fans. And Marcus Freeman is doing a great job. They can, which didn't necessarily seem like a thing that was possible. They can get back to 10 wins if they can, get by USC and then win a bowl game. So things are trending in the right direction. That's for sure. Obviously, the win last week against Boston College was massive. I mean, just an absolute dominant performance from start to finish. I know Phil Drakovic's comments were probably lingering in the locker room a little bit during that one, but big win and just so much to play for. I know they're not winning a national championship. They're not making a college football playoff. Outside shot as a New Year's Six bowl, but for the most part, I mean, there's so much excitement around this program. Once again, everybody is back and believing that Marcus Freeman is the man for this job. Recruiting's at really an all-time high. Things are going well there. So much to play for it, and getting another win after beating Clemson, getting a win over a big rival like USC, man, that would have this place buzzing heading into an offseason.
All right, so that's the good, but here's the bad. Both teams have lost key members of their offense at various points this season. For USC, running back Travis Dye, his year is done, and the Irish lost their starting quarterback Tyler Buckner earlier this season. So first, Ryan, how have the Trojans been able to overcome the loss of their leading rusher?
Yeah, Travis Dye was an emotional leader. Even though he'd only been around the program less than a year, he came in and just everyone rallied around him, similar to what Caleb Williams did, the quarterback, when he came in. But, Austin Jones in the game against UCLA wrote the number 26 for Travis Dye on his wrist. I think a lot of people used his injury as inspiration. Austin Jones, his first chance to really be the guy, goes for 120 yards against UCLA. They also got Jordan Addison back, so it's sort of offset maybe some of the production you lose from a Travis Dye. He has 178 yards receiving and 11 catches and a touchdown, and looked really good doing it after missing the last couple of weeks. So I think USC's been able to score from a lot of different positions, a lot of different ways. They really wanted, Travis Dye to be able to kind of take them to the finish line with running the ball, but having a guy like Austin Jones taking his place and then getting a guy like Addison back, I think really helped this offense start clicking, even with that injury.
Points seem to come pretty easy to USC. Meanwhile, Drew Pine has now started 9 games in place of Buckner, so he's got it rolling a little bit. But Tom, how have you seen his growth throughout the season?
Yeah, he's definitely had some high points, some low points, but he's so confident. And for a guy that, lacks the ideal stature, nobody knows what kind of NFL future he has in front of him, or even if he even has one. But you know what? Like I said from the start, this is a guy who can win you a lot of college football games. The guys rally around him. I think he's had if you force him to throw the ball like Navy did, you're going to see a guy who can light it up, especially in that first half. I mean, he was terrific. So it's kind of like, what are we going to see against USC? Are they going to try to stack the box and limit the run, and let Drew Pine try to beat you? which is what I think they're going to do, because that rushing attack at Notre Dame is something special. I think Pine's ready for it. I mean, I know it was a tough loss not having Tyler Buchner. He was technically the future of the program, and everybody was excited after what he did at the high school level. And it was finally his time after Jack Cohn moved on. But, we'll just have to wait and see. I think Drew Pine, if you force him to beat you, I think he would surprise a lot of people. And I think he's more than ready for a big finish to this season against USC. But again, this is what Tyler Buchner really wanted. He wanted this kind of moment, go back home to California, be the man, beat USC. They didn't recruit him very hard. So I don't know. Either way, I just know Drew Pine is very ready for this moment. He's itching. He was talking about it immediately after the game when I kind of overheard him when I was inside the stadium. He's fired up for this one, and I know he's going to be ready.
Yeah, not just losing two great players, two great leaders, it sounds like, as well. Meanwhile, two head coaches in year one with their respective teams. What would a win mean to each? Tom, start us off.
Yeah, like I said, the buzz around Marcus Freeman is at an all-time high right now. But if you can, the Clemson game happened, but it's in the rearview mirror. That thing had a ton of buzz around it, and everybody was excited. But if you can go on the road and really essentially ruin and end USC's season, I mean, the recruits are going to want to be flocking to Notre Dame. They didn't have a ton of 2024 guys on campus late in the season, especially for that Clemson game. There was a little bit of a lack of buzz, if you will, and things kind of calmed down. But after that win, and then you kind of build on a win against USC, I mean, like I said, guys are going to be wanting to beg to come to Notre Dame, and that's going to be massive. And, all eyes are on Marcus Freeman. I know there was a little bit of issues, I guess you would say, early in the season, but he's righted the ship, and a win against USC would take things up a notch.
Yeah, of course, for Lincoln Riley, really trying to make a statement in his move to Los Angeles, leaving Oklahoma behind, trying to make the college football playoff where USC's never done that before, winning 11-1 in the regular season and still potential Pac-12 championship game. I mean, obviously the implications are huge. I mean, there's a lot that's at stake for this, but the recruiting aspect is interesting too, because he got a lot of recruiting momentum when he was hired, more on the promise of what a Lincoln Riley could do in Los Angeles. Now you have to kind of show the class of 2023, 2024, what you've done. So going out and, from a 4-8 team last year to having at least 10 wins in the regular season in 2022, that's something. So I think, like Tom was saying, that's something you can use as a feather in your recruiting cap going forward. It's not just, hey, I've put guys in the playoffs before, I put guys in the Heisman ceremony before. I did it here at USC, and that's what you can come and be a part of. So a lot at stake Saturday in the Coliseum.
Yeah, and so quickly, too. Both of these squads can now preach that they have proof of product, and a win would go a long way on Saturday. Thank you both so much for the great analysis. You know where to go for the best coverage of this big game and these big programs. Head to uscfootball.com and Irish Illustrated.